Parents and educators, welcome to SmartSocial.com's program. Now, this is a pre-recorded summer series. We want to make these available to you all summer long, and we want to do it on your schedule, your time frame. So if you see a chat box next to this, please engage in it. We read every single chat line item, maybe even enter for a chance to win a giveaway at the end of this or throughout it. So make sure you watch the whole thing. There's a lot of elements below where you can watch it at 1x speed, maybe even faster if you like. If your kids are in the room, that's terrific as well. Let us know. We have a lot of different events happening all summer long, and it's all to get you ready for back to school and to make sure the summer is a good one for your family. Stay to the end because you're going to give us feedback and help your district learn what you found valuable. You'll be able to share your struggles, and we'll be able to share with you in the upcoming months and back to school some of the resources that parents like you are requesting the most. Hey, thank you so much for all the support. We're going to dive into the program. I really hope you enjoy it. I'm grateful for your time. You can adjust using some of the player controls below. Thanks so much. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Avoiding Strangers and Dangerous Situations Online. Tonight, we're going to help your child stay safe online. Not only will you protect your kids, but you'll protect your kids' friends, you'll protect your community, and we've got a lot of exciting stuff in store to make sure you're the best, most informed parent on the block. We have an exciting lineup for you here this evening. Welcome to everybody joining us here live. Now, I'm your host, Josh Oakes, but I'm excited to have not only someone who works in a school district, but also someone who represents a city council member here tonight, Mr. Duron Wilson. Duron, welcome to the program.
Like you said, my name is Duron Wilson. For those that don't know, I'm an executive director here at Poughkeepsie City School District, executive director of school engagement.
It's great to have you here, sir. Okay, exciting lineup tonight. I like to think that we're all on an aircraft. Everybody watching right now, you're in first class. I'm going to be your main pilot tonight, and Duron Wilson is going to be the co-pilot. He's going to jump on the radio here and there and give you expert advice and tips. So tonight, parents, you're in the right place if you're concerned about your child talking to strangers online, if you're concerned about your child being exposed to explicit or harmful content, if you're concerned that your child might have the ability to spot red flags and predators online, because we want to give them as many red flags as possible that they can spot early before they see something, so they have that awareness so they can go, I caught this, mom, I caught this, dad. Next, if you're concerned about your child imitating risky online behaviors they might see on Instagram or YouTube. Next, what if they don't have the confidence to say no to strangers and peer pressure? That's a worry of some parents. And last, are you concerned about your child opening up to you when they have questions or concern? All of this revolves around avoiding strangers in dangerous situations online. Next, by the end of this event, you will understand the risks of talking with strangers and other dangers online. You will learn how to recognize the red flags of online predators in dangerous situations. And you'll gain practical steps to help your child stay safe and happy online. So important, these three. Now, these are three parts of our little aircraft, our flight here this evening, which is so exciting. And I think you're going to like it. Okay, we're diving in today to the first chapter of the three-chapter, really fast little program that we have tonight. The first one is understanding the risks of talking with strangers and other dangers online. Now, parents are often asking us, Josh, what are the risks of my child talking with strangers online? Well, let's listen to one school leader's unfortunate experience with a few of his students.
I had a situation in our district where an 8-year-old boy who had been given access to Instagram and a smartphone was getting gift cards from a stranger in California in order to share inappropriate photos. And it's just one of those things that breaks your heart, because why does a kid have a smartphone? Why do they have access to Instagram? Why is that phone not being monitored by a parent? That's not going to happen to my kid. My kid would never do that. When we talk to kids, I give them very specific examples and I say, that happened right here. We had a situation with a 12-year-old girl with a 20-year-old male got picked up at one of our schools. And so I use that example. These are real people and they want to harm you. And you need to avoid those conversations. You need to talk to a trusted adult and let them know what's happening, and contact law enforcement as appropriate. I think if we talk about it in broad generalities, especially now that we're seeing these sexting blackmail type schemes that are happening, just helping kids understand that it could happen to them and they really need to be very cautious if they're contacted by a stranger.
So important and so helpful. Okay, now let's listen to Amanda tell a firsthand account of what could happen.
Somebody had posed as a 13-year-old, and they hacked into that chat room and acted as one of the friends of a student and was just getting information. I always thought he was a 14-year-old male, and it ended up being a 36-year-old adult.
They chatted online for months.
You gave him little details, and then
Yes.
he stalked you for a couple weeks.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So because he knew I cheered and played soccer, he had taken the school colors that I had given him because he kind of knew the vicinity of the location that I was in, and looked up and found my middle school that I was at. Then he was able to go on the website, because as every school does, we post our schedules on there, and was able to find out practices, games. So he was able to map out my whole path.
But before she knew all of this, the middle schooler says she got a babysitting job in the neighborhood, and that's the day everything changed.
And I went walking up to the house I was supposed to babysit at, and during that walk, a truck pulled up, and literally no sooner than he said my name, Amanda, and I turned, I was in the truck and taken.
So devastating. Now, some parents are probably thinking, my kid's not online, they're not public. Well, this is also another tool that we're seeing that predators are using. It's called sextortion. This is a real USA Today article that just came out. These teenage boys were blackmailed online, and it cost them their lives. Let's learn what happened. I want to go ahead and just take a quick look at this, actually. It's so devastating. High school seniors who are obsessed with comics, just really normal, great kids. But when police looked through James's phone, they discovered that he had fallen victim to financial sextortion, a crime that occurs when a predator threatens to distribute private material or harm a victim if they don't comply with the predator's financial demands. The scam is the fastest growing cybercrime targeting children in North America, and most commonly exploits young men, particularly 13 to 17. Sextortion has been connected to at least 30 deaths of teenage boys by suicide since 2021, according to a tally of private cases. Just so devastating. We want you parents to be aware of that. Now, let's dive into our guest expert and get some advice. Duran, I want to ask you, what insights can you share with parents about the potential dangers of their child talking with strangers online?
I think just like Superintendent Horsley and an unfortunate story that you heard makes it so that parents need to understand that these things are real. These things are happening on a daily basis. There's no city, there's no location that is unique or not involved to this. So the insight would be making sure parents are aware of that type of thing that's happening, the sextortion. That's one of the biggest things. And a lot of times when we think of, sextortion, or we think of extortion, the first thing that comes to a lot of parents' minds is the females, even like we saw the story of Amanda. But we have to realize there are young men out there as well that are falling a victim to this unwillingly, not knowing, thinking that they're finding a nice young lady or another girlfriend or anything, and having casual conversations, and sometimes, alluding to, show me something and show you something. And they do that, innocently, but between two people, not realizing that then becomes the vehicle in which these predators, because that's what they are, parents, is what there's the people that are predators, and they're preying on your children. Start using that information to tell them, send me money immediately, or I'm going to put this out to everybody. Some of these young men might be star athletes. They might be targets. They're lookers that might have something to lose, whether it be the head of a club. And like you heard, it might just be an anime club, but they don't want to be exposed to all the rest of their friends for these type of things. And because they can't afford the money, or they might not even have access to these type of funds, unfortunately, these young men and these young individuals, because it's not only young men, but I just want parents to be aware that just because they might have a young son, that they still can fall a victim to a lot of these things as well. And that's just on that scope. Now we also have to look at too the rise of, and aware of the dangers that's going on. So we don't want you to think that we're trying to scare you into anything, but we want you to be aware of what's really happening. And human trafficking is also, because just like Amanda said, some of these individuals are going online and befriending and saying, hey, let's meet up at the park like this to go play, or hey, I'm going to come over and have like a, sleepover. And innocently enough, some of these youth think that they are talking to another youth. They playing video games online, Xbox and PlayStation. And then that's some things that they have to be aware of. And next thing you know, they're being kidnapped or things like that. So we just have to be mindful of all the different dangers of going online and being aware of these things can happen to your child.
Absolutely. Well said. So the next thing I want to show you is that one parent reached out to us asking, Josh, fentanyl has taken the life of a child at my daughter's school. What do I need to know? And what should I teach my child about this drug? Let me share with you what you need to know about fentanyl. So first of all, here's the fentanyl dangers. A minuscule amount of fentanyl, just 2 milligrams, even half of a pill, could potentially be lethal. And look at that in the upper right, if you can see my cursor. This tiny amount of fentanyl could kill you plus another person. So it could kill 2 kids pretty much right up there. It's just devastating. And fentanyl can be added to any kind of drug. We remind kids, never accept any drug except from a parent or a doctor, a licensed pharmacist, person at a pharmacy. Drugs can easily be purchased through social media, video game ads, and chat rooms. Look over on the far right. This is an actual Snapchat ad where people can just buy pills for $20 to $50. And kids think, oh, this is safe. Next, dealers and online sites claim that their drugs are clean, that they don't have fentanyl. This is not always true. And vapes are also being laced with fentanyl as well. Fentanyl kills 50 times more potent than morphine. It's devastating. Here's some of the slang words as well. Parents, feel free to screenshot this. And then also, have you had a fentanyl impact your community, parents? Let us know in that chat box if you have heard of fentanyl impacting your community. All right, next, one parent reached out to us asking us, Josh, my son and his friends seem to copy everything they see on social media. I'm afraid they're going to hurt themselves, someone else, or get in trouble. Let me share with you the risks of online challenges and a new online danger that you might not know about. Parents, there's a viral and dangerous challenge teens are doing called the Superman Challenge. In this challenge, 2 people will hold hands and let their friend jump on top of them, acting like they're flying. The only problem is sometimes this is a prank. That's right. Sometimes they'll let their friend do it the first time, they'll do it a second time, they'll let go, and their friend will either slam into a wall or their friend will fall face first onto the ground. It is so dangerous that TikTok is actually restricting people from posting these videos because there's been so much harm done to teens. For all the latest trends in dangerous TikTok challenges, head on over to SmartSocial.com. All right, so many good things to share there and so many dangerous things. Now let's discuss dangerous trends. This is a really important one. Parents, have you heard how dangerous it can be when your teens become overly addicted to AI characters, mistaking their responses for genuine advice or real relationships? Character AI is a new AI chatbot app that has been linked to a teenage suicide and another teen allegedly being encouraged to harm their parents. Many of these AI characters in this app dive into sexual or romantic themes that can quickly veer into inappropriate territory for kids. Even though the Apple App Store rates this 17+, Character.ai only requires users to be 13 years or older to join, and many times kids will lie about their age to get access. This is a dangerous app that we put in the SmartSocial.com red zone category, meaning it's not safe for your kids to use alone. Parents, remind your kids that while these AI characters may seem lifelike, they're not real people and they can give very harmful advice to your children. Okay, so we've talked a lot about those dangerous trends. Now let's move into our second part of this. Let's learn how to recognize the red flags of online predators and dangerous situations. So parents are also asking us, Josh, what are some of the ways predators are getting kids to open up and share information? Let's listen to a law enforcement officer about the real tactics predators are using on kids.
Many predators are going to use games or social media that kids are already on. They're going to just start off with a, hey, how are you conversation. And then the biggest tactic is to go after an emotional hook. Well, I'm sad because my grandma left me, my dog died. They're going to try and get an emotional hook to get a connection with the kid. Once they get an emotional hook, they start talking with the kid, then pretty soon they start alienating them from their parents by saying things like, hey, well, people don't understand you like I do, or your parents might not understand you like I do, and you're really a lot better than what your friends think you are. I'm glad I met you. They use those type of tactics against kids, and kids aren't ready for that, and they like acceptance. They like to feel needed. So the predators are using this against kids. giving out any kind of information online, such as credit cards, addresses, schools, those kind of things, can lead to dangerous situations. Also leaving your Snap Map on. Now they're going to stalk you at school, at your work. They're going to find out who your friends are. You really have to have some carefulness when you're sharing information online and understand that not everybody's your friend.
In addition to what you just saw, parents are also asking us, Josh, how do I explain to my child that not everyone online is their friend? I'm going to share with you a simple way to help your child determine who a stranger is and who isn't. Parents, let's discuss understanding online relationships. The first thing I'd like us to discuss is defining who is a friend versus who is a stranger. Your definition versus your kid's definition may be very different. I want us all to get on the same page. The first one we call in real life friends and trusted connections, which makes them a little bit more safe and verified by you. Now, these are people your child knows personally from school, sports, activities, church, neighborhood or family events, friends and family members the parents know and trust. And these are people that your child could have high-fived somewhere. These are the trusted, safe, and verified people. Next are the air quote online friends, gaming and online friends with a verified connection. And these you should be very cautious about. You can still allow your kids to interact with them, but you are looking over their shoulder. These are connections approved by parents and verified through safe interactions. Connections who mostly interact with them on a gaming platform like Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox. And these connections are introduced maybe in addition personally by a close real life friend who knows them personally and can vouch for them. But these are people, parents, that I want you to look over your child's shoulder and say, who is this? Have you ever high-fived that person? Where did you meet them? Are you interacting with them in any other places, on any other social networks like Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, or anywhere else? Have they ever asked you to go onto any of those networks like WhatsApp or any chat networks? Now, this is where we get into strangers and unverified online friends. These are people your child has never met in person or seen on video. These are users who refuse video calls or avoid showing their real identity. In addition, profiles with very little information, fake photos, or suspicious behavior. And they're any online contact, perhaps, who asks for personal information from your child, or maybe they have secrecy, don't tell your parents we talked, or maybe private conversations, hey, let's take this offline to this other app, or they are overly flattering towards your children. Hey, I understand you, your parents don't understand you. And then last, they may have friends in common on social networks with your children, and they claim they go to a neighboring school. Sometimes they will add a lot of kids at one school. Some of the kids will accept, and they can go to all the other friends and say, look, we have friends in common. I go to another school down the street. I want you to be cautious in this area, knowing there can be upside. There can be positive, good people that come out of this. But parents, you're the only people that can look over your kid's shoulder. And as they go from the red zone to the orange zone to then someday in real life trusted connections, you are the ones we want to really look into this. So important. Remember, your child wants to feel these feelings. This is really important. First of all, they're going to look for love and affection from you. They're going to look for belonging, independence, praise, safety, and security. Parents, screenshot this if you'd like. If your child isn't getting these inputs at home, they'll be more inclined to accept them anywhere else. So keep that in mind. Now, here's the 7 steps predators use to reach your child. Let me break down how predators behave online so you can get ahead of it. Talk with your kiddos. These are from law enforcement professionals all over. Number 1, predators will impersonate someone else. They'll lie about who they are online. They'll use fake photos, often posting or posing as another child and posting as another child, teen, or someone trustworthy. They'll steal photos from real users to make their profile look legitimate. They'll claim to have mutual friends or shared interests to appear relatable. They may use AI-generated images or deep fake tech to appear real. And they'll say something like, I'm Name from your school, and we have a lot of friends in common. Next, they may try to build trust. They'll have compliments, emotional connections, shared interests, and so on. They'll flirt or flatter the child with excessive compliments to make them feel special. Next, they will mirror the child's interest, for example, gaming, music, sports, to form a connection. They'll use an emotional hook or ask about feelings and personal struggles to position themselves as a confidant. They'll make the child feel understood and validated, sometimes better than real-life friends. So scary. And then number 3, out of the 7, they create secrecy, including privacy and isolation. They'll encourage private conversations away from public forums, example, direct messages, encrypted apps, and so on. They'll tell the child, hey, no one else understands us, or this is just between us. They'll introduce the idea that parents and other adults wouldn't get it or might overreact. They'll gradually discourage talking to others about their conversations, and predators will say something like, let's keep this conversation just between us. Go create a new username or account on WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal app, so we can chat there, or send me your cell number. Number 4, they build a deeper connection, emotional manipulation. They'll act as a mentor, a predator, or a best friend to the child. They'll share personal stories, often fake, to build emotional attachment. They'll offer gifts, gaming credits, or financial support to gain favor. They'll create a dependency where the child feels the need to check in with them. And number 5, they fish for personal information, gathering personal details. So they'll ask innocent sounding questions about where your child lives, what school they attend, their routines. And as you heard from Amanda's story, what are the color of your cheer outfit? They'll slowly gather small details over time to piece together real life information. They'll encourage the child to share photos or videos under harmless pretenses. They may ask for your child's phone number or alternative way to communicate outside of the app. Number 6, this is where they flip to get what they want. They use manipulation, threats, blackmail, exploitation. They'll begin requesting explicit photos or videos or personal favors. They'll use emotional pressure. Hey, if you really cared about me, you'd do this. They'll threaten to expose private conversations, photos, or past mistakes if the child resists. And they'll push for an in-person meeting, or they escalate to coercion, sextortion, or blackmail. And number 7, they use shame to keep control. They'll trap your child in fear. They make the child feel guilty for what they've shared or done. They tell them that they will be in serious trouble if their parents find out, and they insist that no one will believe them or that they will be judged, which is so important to know. They ask for the child to pay them money to make all threats stop. This is called financial sextortion, and it kills kids every year. Okay, we're back to our expert. Duran, what advice would you give to parents about what they can do to help their child be aware of the dangers of talking with strangers online?
Well, first and foremost, I would definitely say the conversation, and also not to be cliche, but utilizing platforms like this, SmartSocial, to make them aware of the different type of things that happen. I saw in the chat that one parent had expressed that they would trust that their child is looking at, the right sites. Unfortunately, they can be looking at the right sites and looking at the right thing, but these predators, they're being so slick these days that they're tapping into those sites and being part of that algorithm, because as your child is looking at the same things, even if it's on TikTok, Snapchat, over and over again, they then become a part of that algorithm, and it starts slowly but surely. So you want to have those open conversations with your children and making sure that you understand that they understand that it can be dangerous. If they're on their phone 24/7 too, you want to take a look at that and see who they're talking to. If they start talking about some new friends, you want to ask them these questions about to figure out if they're friends that are real. So you want to ask them, 1, have you ever met this friend? Do they go to your school? 2, there's a time and a place where you want to meet, and you accompany your child with that to see if this friend really does show up or not show up, because that is a true tell. But make sure you're part of that conversation and make sure you're at that location. And 3, just keep making sure that they understand that everyone out there isn't always being nice. There are people out there, and not sugarcoating it, that make them think that this cannot happen to them just because, like I said before, the location or different, the location or what school district you might be in. All these things are happening throughout the country, and we have to make sure that you're continuously having these open conversations with your children and continuously using platforms like this to expose them to more and more information, because an innocent, they can be innocently doing a lot of things, but once again, the predators are, slowly but surely developing a pattern to try to infiltrate that. And slowly but surely, some children do fall a victim to it, not knowingly. So you always want to be checked. And I always tell parents to make sure you have every account that your child has, you have access to that account, their the password and anything. And if every time you go into it and it's changed, I say daily or weekly check to make sure it's the same access. And then you have to go back and tell them, give me back the access. Or sometimes it might be a hard pill to swallow, but they might not need, the phone as much or the tablet as much, or they might need one of those phones where it's only restricted to, whatever the parent settings are, just to keep them safe for this moment in time.
Yeah, so well said. Excellent tips. Okay, the next thing I'd like to do, everyone, is in a few minutes, we're going to ask our guest again to share some more advice. But in the meantime, let's share some more parent questions. Parents are asking us, Josh, what advice would you give a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger? Let's hear from a student about how she might help a friend in this situation.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start. If they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
So many good tips from real teens. We're now into the final program, practical steps to help your child stay safe and happy online. So parents are asking us, Josh, how can I be more proactive in helping my kiddo to stay safe from strangers and dangers online? Let's hear from a superintendent on how parents can stay one step ahead.
We really have to become digitally savvy as well. We have to understand the apps, disappearing messages, and which apps and games have those things. We need to be reading reviews of the applications and games that our children are using. We need to have ongoing conversations and agreements with our children that we are going to be monitoring the phone, making them aware that there are dangerous situations that can occur online. And so educating them on your expectations of not engaging with a stranger, putting parental controls on the applications and games so that they can't engage in a chat, monitoring their usage, being present when they're using the devices are all great tips for parents. If you make a mistake or if you find yourself in a situation, I will be here for you. I need you to step away right away when something doesn't feel right. If someone messages you, please always let me know and we will solve that problem together.
So important. She's got some great tips there. In addition, parents are asking us, Josh, what can my child do to help protect themselves from strangers online? Let's watch as two teens share how they stay safe online.
I have definitely had someone who's made me feel uncomfortable or unsafe online before. I've definitely had friends who have experienced similar things or been in similar situations. If it's someone who I don't know, I won't be engaging in the conversation. But if they continue to send messages over and over again and they consistently try to contact me, then I will block the number or I'll just delete the whole message. That's especially true on Instagram. It's definitely easier to do that if someone is trying to DM you and contact you that way. If it's on a platform such as Snapchat where they can send you messages back and forth and can see if you're reading their messages and if you're viewing them, then I will just unadd the person right away and I'll block them or I'll report them and I just won't engage in the conversation.
One time, me and my friend were playing an online game when a random person started attacking us in the chat saying things like, "I know your IP address," and other threats to intimidate us. My friend and I immediately left the game and told our parents what happened to be aware in case we needed to be on the lookout for our safety.
So many good tips directly from teens. All right. Next, parents are asking us, how can I encourage my child to get help if they're in an uncomfortable situation online? Let's watch two school leaders share their thoughts on teaching students to speak up.
I think the most important advice is making sure that students have a trusted adult in their school setting, in their community. They have their parents who could be a trusted adult to go to them when things aren't going well, not to keep that bottled up. There's no shame Even if you've made some mistake, there's no shame in saying, I'm in a situation and I need help. Everybody wants it to stop there. They don't want it to go any further where you can't return or make sure that you're safe.
There's going to be a time where your child needs to tell you something, but they're not comfortable telling you because they're afraid of how you're going to react. So identifying 3 trusted adults who are not your parents, that if something was hard or scary or you didn't know what to do and you didn't feel comfortable telling your parent, that's something in our family that we revisit like back to school night. Just, hey, these were the people you identified last year. Are these still your people? Just so that you as a parent know that there are other adults in your corner if they ever felt like they needed to share something with an adult.
So many good tips straight from the educators. Now, parents are also asking us, how do I build trust with my child so they will open up? Let's listen to our final video with a superintendent's thoughts on building trust with your child.
We understand that we are up against very clever individuals, but we always talk with our kids, making sure that they understand going to familiar sites. We try to educate them as much as possible. That being said, we also want to empower our families to make sure that they are asking critical questions of their children at home and asking them about the sites that they're seeing, asking them to show their history or to show them where they were visiting when they were exploring on the web, or what one of their YouTube videos was that they saw that day, or tell me about the new TikTok follower that you have or the new one that you're following. That's where having those relationships that are established is so critical. You can have all the monitoring software in the world, but one of the best monitors is really in the development of the relationships and making sure that you continue to engage actively with children in terms of their experience and how they're using and interacting with others online.
Oh, such great tips. All right, we're back over to my co-pilot for this airplane as we are about to land it and arrive on our destination. Let's hear from our guests. What advice do you have for parents, Duran, to open up a healthy dialogue with their child about talking with strangers and other dangers online?
Well, first, I would say all the advice that was just showed is great as well, but you want to come in from, from love. You want to talk to your child about love. You don't want to be demanding of this, and when you're having this open dialogue, and you want to first, ask them how they're feeling, ask them how their day was, ask them what their day was like, ask them what they have engaged in. And just like we heard before, it's about establishing that relationship so that your child feels comfortable no matter what to come to you. But you don't want to come, even if you do happen to find something out or find out later that it was something negative, you want to come from that loving aspect and that nurturing aspect so that you make your child feel that ease with you. You want to be open to conversations. And sometimes as adults, we might have experienced some of these things too, and sharing with our children some of the dangers that we might have experienced throughout, like as we saw earlier in the video with Amanda, what happened to her when she was a teenager. But as you can see, she was a grown woman now. So if she had children, it would be good for her to express to them something that happened to her or somebody that she might know. But you want to make sure you're coming from a loving aspect. And just like was stated before, which I already had down to, being engaged with your child, being aware, and always having access to your child's phone and having those discussions with your child about what did they look at online, via cell phone, via tablet, via the computer, and sometimes actually engaging in those games or activities that your child was on.
Yeah, such great tips. Those are good. I like that, coming from love. Okay, we're going to give everybody some dialogue starters for your family. Parents, screenshot this page and share it with somebody in your community. And also let us know in the chat box which dialogue starter you suggest we add. I'm thinking of writing another book called The 50 Questions to Ask Your Kid Before They Get a Cell Phone or Social Media, or after they have it and they're misbehaving. Okay. Have you ever gotten a message, son, daughter, from someone you don't know online? How did you handle it? And again, this is just an open-ended question of how'd you handle it? Teach me. Next, if someone online says that they are your age and likes all the same things as you, do you think that always means they're telling the truth? Next, what is the difference between an online friend versus a real-life friend? And in addition, if someone asks you to keep a conversation secret from me, what do you think their reason might be? These are interesting questions to get your kid talking. Remember, parents, it's not just when you're ready, it's also when they're ready. So memorize one of these, screenshot it, take it with you, and use it when you're ready and they're ready. Here's some more dialogue starters you can screenshot. Have you or a friend ever encountered someone online who made you feel uncomfortable or unsafe? If so, what did you or they do? What would you do if someone online started asking you personal questions like what school you go to or if you're home alone? And next, is there another adult you could go to and talk with if for any reason you don't feel comfortable coming to me? Who would that be? This is a brilliant question, I would argue. This is the one that really resonates in a way that says it takes a village to raise a child, and lots of people the children can go to. Please screenshot this page, take it with you, and help a community member. Back over to you, sir. What are your final thoughts for parents who want to keep their kids safe from dangers online?
My final thoughts is like I started, open conversation, love, being apart, being engaged, and being aware with your child and your families. Even if you have not even just your child, you might have nieces and nephews or cousins or different people, being able to share this information, especially when you're having family discussions and family dinners, bring it up, talk about it. When you're having family gatherings, talk about it, because you might not know, and talk about it amongst some of your friends as well, because they might not know or be aware of some of these things too, and pay attention. And one of the greatest things I will say is lock into SmartSocial. That way you're always abreast of what's coming up and what's new going on. And we thank you for chiming in today, and we thank you for listening, and we hope you continue to be part of this network so that you and your family can be safe.
Duran, you're better at my job than me. I love it. I think it's terrific. Parents, you heard it from the best right there. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to my co-pilot in this wonderful evening. Duran, thank you. You've been terrific. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Parents, educators, and students, thanks so much for joining the program. This is your chance to engage, and let's talk a little bit about a giveaway that we do. This is a chance for you to help your community to be safer online and enter for a chance to win a gift. Now, you can let us know in that chat box, what do you want to win for your family? Is it an Amazon Kindle, a 3D printer? We do this every week. We ship it to the school. We'll figure out with you how we do that, but we have a new Amazon Kindle we give away, which inspires reading, or a 3D printer on the right that you can see, which inspires STEM education. You can let us know in that chat box right now if you'd like to. We do see every single chat box item. And here's how you do this. You visit smartsocial.com/find, and you can do that from your mobile phone, parents. This is a parent thing. You register/log in and fill out our feedback form. This is just for parents to do, and you can have your kids in the room as well. Or you can scan that QR code, parents, and you fill out our feedback form to enter for a chance to win our drawing every Friday. If your district isn't currently a partner, you'll see a message on the page. Just click that big, beautiful button you see right there and send them an email. This also enters you for a chance to win a prize every Friday. And this is what that might look like. Hey, it looks like your school district's partnership expired, or they don't have one, or something like that. If you click that big button, it emails us, and you can put your principal in there or whoever else, if you know your superintendent, bonus points. But this is your chance. You'll land on a little page that looks like that on the right. Now tell us what you've learned from the event. I learned this. I learned that my students and I, or my teen and I, can work together on this. I should play video games with them more. I learned this, and so on. And then, what social media safety topic does your family struggle with? We use this to plan our next topic, which is super important. So fill out that page, spend a moment, work on your grammar just a little. It really helps us. This helps the school district to go, whoa, this was valuable. And again, help us out a little bit. If there's a landing page and a next step, take a look at that as well. We're really grateful for your time. We hope you enjoyed the program. This is a chance for us to give back to your community. And then you giving us feedback helps us to be the world's best at protecting communities and families just like yours. I love doing this. It's my life's mission. And I'm grateful that you took the time and made it here. Scan that QR code or go to smartsocial.com/find to log in, to access everything. And then you can click a button that says event feedback. And the event feedback, which you're in right now, lets you give us that event feedback. All right, everyone, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the support and for everything else, to the incredible team at SmartSocial. And as always, no matter what you're posting online, remember to keep it light, bright, and polite, because everyone's watching. We'll see all of you on the next event. Again, I'm so grateful